Welcome. My name is Bodhi Baksha, and I'm going to be guiding you through 6 sessions in which we're going to be exploring living mindfully with tinnitus. By way of background, I've been practicing meditation for over 40 years, and I've been teaching meditation for a long time as well. Tinnitus is a bit more recent in my life. I remember noticing it, first of all, after going out for runs, when I'd have a persistent ringing in my ears for a couple of hours. And I mentioned this to my doctor, and she said, well, there'll be more of that. And she was right. Tinnitus is now a constant companion. The good news is that I don't notice it most of the time. There are entire days when it doesn't trouble me at all, and I don't even notice it's there. When I do pay attention to it, I realize it's quite loud. It's in both ears, it's going continuously, and it's comparable in loudness to the conversations and the music and the television that's going on round about me. Just recently, one of my meditation students told me that he'd almost given up meditation because of tinnitus. He'd found it too difficult to sit with the noise he was hearing inside his own ears. And that reminded me that, yeah, actually, people do get driven crazy by this. And I realized that I'm quite lucky, because I'd been meditating for many years before tinnitus happened to me. And I've built up the skills that allow me to live with it without it being a problem. Skills like mindfulness, acceptance, self-compassion. And that's what we're going to be exploring in this course. We're going to be identifying and developing the skills that allow us to have tinnitus in our lives, and for that not to be a problem. And I have to say, we're not going to cure your tinnitus. We're not going to make it go away. And that's okay, because the thing is that the tinnitus itself is not the problem. It's our reaction to the tinnitus. It's things like our desperately wanting it to stop. It's our telling ourselves that we're never going to sleep. It's the feeling that we can never relax. Those are the kind of things that are the real problem. And those are the kind of things that meditation can help us with. And one of the problems with meditation that a lot of people find when they try to use it to help them with tinnitus, or if they've been meditating already and they develop tinnitus, is that you're confronted with it. It's right there, all the time. You're no longer distracted by things that are going on in the outside world. You're not focused on work. You're not focused on a conversation, on the television. It's just you and the sensations that are arising inside you. And one of those sensations is the noise, that ringing or whistling or whatever it is in your ears. It can even seem that the tinnitus is getting worse, that it's getting louder. That's not actually the case. It's just the same as it was before. It's just that your attention is undivided. So meditating might seem like it's the last thing that you would want to do. You might think, why would I want to torture myself in this way? But the thing is that meditating has been shown to be very effective at helping people to learn to live with tinnitus. It doesn't cure it, It doesn't make it go away. It just helps you to be more at ease with yourself. 2,500 years ago, the Buddha gave an analogy to help us understand what's going on here. He said that there are painful things that happen to us, and they're unavoidable. It's like getting shot with an arrow, he says. And how do we respond to that? He said that the untrained person, someone who hasn't learned to work with their mind, responds to pain by going, "This is terrible. Why is this happening to me? I wish it would stop. Am I being punished for something? What could I have done differently? Nobody can understand what I'm going through." We do what the Buddha called grief, sorrow, and lamentation, or, as we'd call it more pithily today, self-pity. We experience self-pity and we have resistance to the experience of pain. Now, tinnitus itself isn't painful, but it causes distress, which is. And the Buddha said that this grief, sorrow, and lamentation is like, in response to the first arrow, we shoot ourselves with a second arrow. Because it's painful too. In fact, it's even more painful than the original discomfort that we're protesting about. So in meditating, we're noticing what the mind does. We're noticing what's arising, including the sound in our ears. We're noticing what's arising in response to the sound in our ears. We're noticing the upwelling of resistance. We're noticing thoughts of self-pity and protest. And we realize we have a choice. We can't stop the sound from being there. We can't stop the discomfort that arises from knowing that it's there. But we can drop those thoughts. We can let go of the thoughts of grief, sorrow, and lamentation, and simply be. We just be present with whatever's arising, including the sound that's arising in our ears. So let's sit together. So I suggest you find your way into a way of sitting that is upright, that allows your chest to be open, your back to be straight so that your breathing isn't compressed. If for some reason you're not able to sit upright, then you can lie down. And first of all, bring some awareness into the eyes. And just let the eyes soften. Let the muscles around the eyes be at rest. So the eyes are just floating. And let the focus within the eyes be soft as well. So very often we carry tension in the focus within the eyes, and we don't have to do that. We can let the eyes almost be unfocused behind our closed eyelids. And this softening of the eyes does a couple of things. It stimulates the parasympathetic nervous system, which brings us back into rest and balance. And that in turn helps calm the mind. So you may notice a certain softening and letting go in the mind, an ease, a restfulness. And as well as the mind calming, the body tends to soften. Tensions that we've been holding there begin to melt a little. The breathing slows down, becomes fuller. So that's the first thing, a kind of cascade of calmness, softening in the body. And the second thing is that our attention becomes more open, more receptive. So we're able to be aware of sensations arising from all over the body. So as you're noticing the breathing that's slowing down and deepening, you might notice sensations arising from many different parts of the body. Soft waves of movement and sensation are sweeping through the body every time you breathe in, and every time you breathe out. You can be aware of many different sensations, and one of those might be the sound arising within your ears. So just noticing all of this, letting go of any thoughts that might arise, and just being with the soft waves of the breathing and any other sensations that are arising, including the sounds within your own ears. So we've only just begun scratching the surface of mindfulness practice, and I hope you'll come back and join me for session 2, in which we'll be going much deeper into the experience of being mindfully accepting of whatever's arising.